March Madness. March Madness, madness. March Madness 2. You can see it when you see me, but you
Sookie now. Ha ha. Hell yeah. I know my dogs are watching. And if you ain't, I know you will be. And if you are watching and you ain't my dog yet, you will be. Because I'm going to help you get busy living. My name is Swede. Welcome back to the Get Busy Living podcast, y'all. Hey, look, it's been already, what is it? September, October, November, December, January, 5 months. We're going into month 6. It's already been almost a half a year of the Get Busy Living Project 55. Yo, we've been from the Grand Canyon. We've been to Hollywood for Halloween. Been back to my hometown of Florida, which is where I spent most of my adult life. Really, my hometown. We went to in Pennsylvania for month 5. So, man, I'm telling you, this has been wild. It's been 6 months almost, and it's only going to keep on getting better. So thanks for coming back. And before we get any further, I want to welcome to the stage my dazzling co-host, Miss Diana D. Rex Eckstein.
Thank you once again. Here we are. We're filling up the room. So if you're here, please say hi in the comments because we want to chat with you.
What up, my man Ray Ferrito in the house? Like I told you about Ray, me and Ray, we go way back, further than really anybody that I'm currently in touch with in life.
Really?
Like, yeah, seriously. First day of school, first grade. I don't know if we were friends that day, but like that's when we met. You know, so you're like, what, 8 years later? First day of school, 9th grade.
Man, you know, things are getting to be a long time now. You know, it's like once you, and I don't want to give away your age.
21 forever.
But, you know, once you head toward the middle, things start to get to be a very long way away. And, you know, in fact, that reminds me, I want to talk about this.
Dun, 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 dun. I love that music.
What is it? What's our next destination?
We are going to Flagstaff, Arizona. For those of you that don't know, Flagstaff is like, it's just right up the hill out of Phoenix, which is in the valley. And it's the nearest, greatest ski destination. It's world-class skiing up there. Like, don't let it fool you, D-Rex. You've bragged yourself about the mountains in Arizona. The mountains out here are legit, right?
Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
Sick now. So yeah, look, Flagstaff's legit, man. It's a really cool little mountain town. I got my people from High Country Adaptive Sports, that the people that helped me get on the mountain bike at the Grand Canyon are going to help me get on this super dope ski. So it's getting better by the minute, really. So this weekend, tomorrow, I'm going to be heading up to Flagstaff. Well, tomorrow I'm getting the ski gear, and then Saturday morning heading to Flagstaff, and they're going to teach me how to ride this really cool Tetra ski is what they're calling it. And it's specially designed, obviously, for people that are in a tough circumstance like myself lately. And it's got a little joystick, just like my chair does. But I mean, it's downhill and it's fast. And they don't know me very well.
You know, I wish I had that picture to pull up this week. I don't have it this week. I had it last week. I'll find it. So you and I were in ski club together in high school. I'll just reiterate that for anybody who missed us last week. But that was my introduction to skiing. Yours too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were just so lucky to have that experience because we loved it so much. But honestly, that was the last time I've downhill skied.
Get out of here. Did you already tell me that?
I might have, but it doesn't matter.
The shot value's still there.
So that's the last time that I downhill skied. And now that was with you. And now how many years later? I mean, do I want to out you as someone over 21? I mean, we're looking at a whole lifetime.
They know later. It's been at least 21 years. I mean, they can guess after that.
That's crazy. So that's what I was talking about earlier. It's like things are getting to be a long time because I still feel skiing in my bones. I still feel like as soon as I get on those skis, I know what I'm doing, right? But when I thought about when it actually was that I skied, that's a long time ago. That's a whole adult that has grown up and can drink. Long time.
Ray said I was too big to ski, and now I'm afraid of broken bones. So Ray's a big dude. Okay, Ray's he was a big kid, man. So like in high school, man, he was a beast in football. Like I don't know how far Ray, how far did you go, man? Did you get? I mean, you were like scholarship style. Did you go D1? I don't know, man. He was good. He was really good. Like he tore up our what was that Erie's local league, the Metro League or something? Is that what was it called? Metro League?
I wouldn't know that.
I wouldn't know that. Silly.
I went to football games, but I'm pretty sure it was just to look at boys.
Of course. I mean, why do you think we were football players? We just wanted to be looked at.
Well,
it's funny.
You can't ask me football questions, as you know.
Of course not. Of course not. One of my fondest memories of that football stadium was I wasn't even on the field. Kerod. Kiro didn't play a lot of games. Let's just put it that way. Like he was on the team for years, and he quit and tried and Buff made him come back, but he was just a hitting dummy at practice. I love you, Keats, but Keats wasn't going to any colleges playing football, and it was like halfway through our senior year, and Kiro's out there, and we were blowing the team out. I'm pretty sure, and like all the other players are going in, and my loudmouth ass up in the stands. I'm like, "Hey, Buff," I'm like, "Put Kiro in," and like I was loud at those games, man. I was. Seriously. And like I kept on yelling, Buff, Coach Buff, come on, man. I know you hear me, Buff. You can't keep ignoring me. Put Kiro in. Put Kiro in. Buff, put Kiro in. Put Kiro in.
I can imagine you were that annoying.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm telling you, I wore it out. And Kiro's like turning around. He's like, fucking on me.
Did he let him in?
No.
Oh. Oh, Ray says, had a beautiful baby that kept me home. I'm not bragging. I showed up.
Hell yeah, man. Hey, man, it's unfortunate, but it's true. It's less common for them to show up, for men to show up for kids these days. Mm-hmm. It's less common, man. It's unfortunate that it's one of many things about modern society that when you talk about forgiveness that are unforgivable, that we are letting things slide. We are standing by full well knowing things are happening and letting them slide. And it's like, it's because everybody's doing it that no one person really, it seems. I mean, I don't know, unless you're Martin Luther King or Cassius Clay. I mean, how do you put a stop to the things that are just straight madness? To me.
Do you mean just in society?
Yes. But I mean, on every level, you can get as big or small as you want and you can take any angle. But like, how is it okay that there are missiles in the air right now on their way to kill people? And how is it that not all the people who aren't getting shot at aren't over there saying, stop? We're all standing by.
It's true, but then there's also the question of how can you find the energy to stop any of these massive machines that are rolling? How can that even happen? Like when we talk about something as big as war or healthcare, right?
Yeah, that's right. Machine in so many ways. Well, speaking of machine, Raising Against the Machine is going to be going back on tour. We're going. That's going to be one of the destinations of the Project 55. Yeah. The first time I ever went to a mosh pit, I was in the Air Force and I was in San Antonio, and my roommate was like, "Yo, man," he's like, "What are you doing this weekend, Swede?" And I was like, "Oh, bro," I was like, "I just got a ticket, man. It's gonna. I'm going to Alamo Dome. I'm going to watch the baddest, one of the baddest hip hop bands around, Gangstar." And he's like, "Really? You're going to Alamo Dome this weekend?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "So am I. I'm going to see the baddest, you know, punk rock band, you know." And I'm like, "Who?" And he's like, "Rage Against the Machine. They're at the Alamo Dome too." And I'm like, "What day are you going?" And I'm like, "I'm going that day." And he's like, "Oh, I guess it's the same night." And I'm like, "You guys open up for Gangstar?" He's like, "No way, man. Gangstar's got to be opening up for our." I was like, "No way. I'd never heard of Rage Against the Machine." And sure, but I heard of Gangstar. Growing up on the East Coast and '90s hip hop was like, that's a legendary genre and era of music. Just like classic rock was in the '70s. But
Mhm,
anyway,
mhm.
so Gangstar they had their share, man. They had mass appeal. It was one of their hit songs, and 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 when I got there, I full well expected it to be a bunch of like punk rock nerds and mostly like Gangstar East Coast '90s hip hop people.
Mhm.
and I got there and Rage there was it was completely opposite of what I expected, and it was a rock show. Gangstar was playing rock, like rapping over like politically charged you know rock music, and they killed it. But Rage Against the Machine was the show. It was my first experience in a mosh pit. Have you ever, D-Rex, seen a mosh pit?
Um, I have a weird story about a mosh pit, but I'm not sure how relevant it is. Go on.
Well, no, we're talking. Come on, now we're talking about mosh pits. It's relevant.
Okay, somehow I ended up at a Mushroom Head show in the 90s in Pittsburgh.
The plot thickens.
And I didn't belong there. But I was just standing there and watching the show. They all had their animal masks on, and they had their half naked girls with electrical tape covering certain areas, and I'm just watching. And all of a sudden I got pushed like boom, like across the room. And I looked up, and it was a giant girl with like a shaved head, and she was like yelling at me, but I think she was like trying to start a mosh pit, and I was an easy target because I didn't belong there.
Look at Ray. Slushy
But
puddle. I'm just
well,
gonna
if
leave
it's
this up
outdoor,
here.
okay.
It's
So
okay.
I do want to back up though. I want to back up and talk about we were talking about the big machine of things, of society, right? And I was been reading a lot in the past week about how the reason that a lot of people are unhappy is because we're living in a machine that's not designed for our happiness. It's designed for something else. And sure, it's probably money, but it's not designed for human happiness. So we're living within this machine, and we're doing the things the machine tells us. And then it hands us some of the things like new cars and big houses. And we go, okay, I should be happy now. And then when we don't feel happy, it's confusing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've been reading a lot about this in the past week. And I think that that's pretty much what we're always talking about here at this podcast. Like, if you're not feeling happy, what is it? How can we fix it? How can we get you back to being the human being you're designed to be and not part of this machine that's been built? And it's too big. It's too big to fight. So you kind of have to like exit in your own ways.
Yes.
You can't
Yes.
stop the machine, but you can exit in places.
Do your best not to participate. Yeah, absolutely.
You know what? Speaking of not participating, well, maybe I shouldn't say not participating, but let's talk about this really quick. So, 100-mile challenge. I'm participating, okay? I am. It's just that I have been battling a cough since December that go away and then come back and go away and come back. And then when I was pushing myself, once I realized like, oh, I can complete this 100 miles, I can do this, I realized
Yeah,
that,
you're on a good pace. You're ahead of schedule.
yeah, I was going to do it. But then I realized like, I don't feel right. I don't feel, my lungs don't feel good. Like I'm pushing myself too hard. I'm running out in the cold weather. I need to back off a little bit. I need to maybe extend my deadline back out to the 30 days that I initially allowed myself. And so I have been easier on myself about this. Even though I was excited about doing 100 miles, even though I got a late start, I'm going to be easy, and I'm still going to do my 100 miles, and it's going to take me the full month, which is still a victory.
Yeah, huge. Kidding me? It's hard to begin with, and you're trying to make it harder. Look at you.
I know. Why? And that's the thing, is that I think often we're all too hard on ourselves. I have to cough. Pneumonia.
We really do, and this is something you and I have talked about, I believe, openly on the podcast, is we expect too much of ourselves in 1 year and not enough of ourselves in one lifetime. And I have been openly admitting to some sort of cognitive decline. I haven't put a finger on exactly what's going on, but man, it's been a lot tougher for me to stay focused lately. So I'm exploring all these different options because I know a focused version of me, what I'm capable in a year. Because I had somebody say that little phrase to me about being overconfident about what we can do in 1 year and underconfident about what we can do in one life. Since the first time I heard that, I tried to actually be aware of that, and so in that level, being aware about what can be done in 1 year, I think that all the things that we have laid out in front of us can be done. But like we've already talked about recently, in the process of getting busy living, there's ebb and flow, and you got to know what things that you can just let go of and cut your losses, if you will, and learn from them, right? You win some, you learn some.
Well, I mean, I could sit here and be really mad at myself, right? Because I'm like, I was on track, and I'm mad that I got sick, or I'm mad that I'm still coughing or whatever. But I've decided to just cut that free, because that was a self-imposed problem. It's not actually a problem. And I think that oftentimes the things that worry us are not actually problems. We've just made them into problems,
Yeah, a lot of times we've set goals for ourselves that are not in any way, shape, or form in alignment with what we really want out of life. Think about the little things that we preoccupy ourselves with that are totally a lot of times counterproductive. I mean, really thinking about humans from a 30,000 foot, or from an alien point of view, from a neutral, unbiased perspective of really analyzing our lives and not like trying to understand why we do it, just looking at what we're doing. We're not, as a species, we're not we're not walking in the direction of getting there, if you know what I mean. It's and that's why I really want to stress calling attention to the vegan stuff.
Oh. What'd you say?
I went to look. Seriously, I'm very happy with how I feel about it this time. Like it's my mind is at ease because I know that I'm just going to keep on eating clean. I have been tempted, but it's so simple when you're tempted. Most times these days, to just look on the menu and swap it out, or just remove whatever it is that makes it, not clean. And so I feel what I feel most about, or best about, since the turn, is the energy and the sleep. Easy in and easy out.
Oh my goodness. I have been sleeping like a log. I've been sleeping like the loggiest log that has ever logged. And I don't know. I don't know if it's because of yes, I'm logging over here.
Loggiest ever logged. All right.
I don't know if it's the mostly vegan eating, and I don't know if it's because I switched over from coffee to green tea, but every night it's like crazy dreams that I actually remember. And I'm feeling much more well rested.
Now that you mention that, dreaming and remembering them has come up recently with me in conversation with others. I hadn't noticed that, but something I hadn't been doing in a while is remembering my dreams, but recently I have. Good point. Good catch. Good catch.
But you're also not drinking so much coffee either. So I wonder.
That's true.
Yeah. I wonder what it's from. But it certainly couldn't hurt to be putting less toxins in your body right now. There's less for it to fight and more time for it to recharge itself,
Oh man, that reminds me. So my buddy Chris that came through a couple weeks ago was coming up from Panama. He had just gone down. Hey girl, hey.
Hey Kelly.
He had just gone down to Panama and sat in with the Panama. It's the Stem Cell Institute down there, and was reporting back, and flew through Phoenix on his way to Hawaii and hung out. And while we were talking, he turned me on to Tony Robbins' new book, Life Force. Mm-hmm. Have you caught wind of this Tony Robbins' new book yet?
No, I go in and out of this. I go in and out of listening to Tony Robbins. That's an interesting dude right there.
Yeah, I was listening to Rob Dial. Lyric turned me on to Rob Dial the other day. It just so happened the very first day I went to look at Rob Dial. Now we're tangenting on tangents right now.
I know it's going to be hard to bring this back in.
I wanted to see Rob or listen to Rob Dial the other day. I hadn't seen or heard of him before. And when I go to look at him, the very first episode is his first time ever interviewing Tony Robbins. And he was telling Tony Robbins how the first time he listened to him, for the first time Rob listened to Tony, Rob was in his early 20s. Same with me. First time I listened to him, I was listening to this guy that I was hanging out with this guy, Mega Bo, my boy. I want to get Mega Bo on here one of these days.
Mega Bo?
Mega Bo. If you know this guy, you know why he's Mega Bo. He's ultra.
Okay. All right.
So he had me listen. He's like, Swede, you gotta listen to this stuff, and had me listen to Tony Robbins. But it was like, man, it was weird for me. It was weird for me to listen to it. All of the hype and all of the passionate like positivity was like, man, it was just too. I'm cheeseball. My lyric has called me, cheesecake many times in my life, and cheeseburger and cheese dad and all that. But that dude was too much for me at first. But over the years, I've had so many of my mentors or other people that I respected in business talk so highly of them that I've opened up to it and went and looked. And honestly, the more business acumen I picked up over in my lifetime, the more I became familiar with the things he's saying that actually isn't cheesy. It actually is true. And like, it's why I call it cheesy.
I feel like there's a delivery to it that's hard for us jaded people from Erie, Pennsylvania to accept at first. That's all.
Could be. There's definitely, well, you gotta go in there humble and not critical. If you come in with skepticism, it's like you're peeing in your cornflakes already. Why? But yeah. But lately, since I've become an adult and more recently, like I saw, if you watch his documentary, I Am Not Your Guru, okay. And also it helps to understand where he's coming from. The dude was 6 foot when he was like 17 and like 6'8" when he was 18, like shot and found out later on in life after he was like bursting at the seams. He just grew up and became ultra large, like this 6 behemoth dude, right? And it's because he has some sort of hormone imbalance.
I think gigantism.
I think he has like an overactive pituitary gland or something like that. And so he's talking in his recent book about his how much energy he expends on stage every time he goes out there. And he's like, look, I'm 6'8". I weigh 300 pounds. Every time I jump, he's like, and I have to catch myself. I burn
Oh,
more
wow.
calories than the average person does, and they run around a block. Like
I bet.
he's like, he's like, I'm up there jumping and running around and going crazy. He's like, he's like, the way he describes it in a way where he's like, I can imagine his plight. Imagine if you were a superhuman trying to relate to humans, because that's essentially what he is. He's a mutant. This dude is like doing superhuman things. His energy levels and the amount of focus that he has,
Yeah.
and like
Great communicator, very smart.
Yeah, all of those things are like being a communicator and being smart. You can be 5'1", like how big was Hitler or Mussolini, right? Or Napoleon. But the superhuman focus, like the amount of time he spends working his craft, is the stuff of legend, And I've never met the guy. In fact, welcome to the Get Busy Living podcast. It has been decided, Tony Robbins, you are going to be a guest on the show. So just putting that out there, just so he can tell his own version of what happened. Because the thing is that since he discovered these things about himself, he has poured into the world in a way where by no means am I on his level as far as accomplishments or legacy or anything, but the amount of impact that I hope to make because I'm trying to parallel the impact that's been made upon me by my life being saved, and so I aspire to become even more relentless and more tireless and better focused, because I know that extreme focus, that's how things happen, and I know that I'm capable of it. It's just a matter of, getting better at this whole thing called life as this individual I am now. But the tangent upon tangent upon tangent, all goes back to really trying to inspire people and help them, not just inspire them, go out and get busy living, but help them come here and let us help you get busy living. I think that we can make a major impact like that. I really do.
Hey, check out what Kelly says.
Goes to his church. She can hook you up. Hell yeah, Kelly, get us hooked up. Get us hooked up. Speaking of which, just for the know of the audience, for the information, we are seeking to hire somebody that's good with websites and somebody that spends that is effective at social media marketing. So I put some ads up, putting some feelers out. If you know anybody, it's going to take a unique person because, I got D-Rex. I can't hire somebody that's going to hold her back, so we need talent. We need talent.
Let me be free. Okay. I do have to reel you back in here. Okay. We're back. Okay. Now there was a bunch of tangents, but I really want to get back to Veganuary because I do believe that this ties into like my entire week. So when I said I'm eating mostly vegan, it just means that I aim to make vegan choices every single day, but not every single day is perfect. Either I accidentally eat something with butter in it and I just can't be mad about it. Or like yesterday, I had a friend just call me up out of nowhere and say, I'm coming over and I have something for you. And that was a nice surprise. She's one of my best friends. And she shows up and she's got a breakfast burrito for me. And it's really a good one, And I was like, for a second, my brain went, do I tell her I'm doing Veganuary? No, of course not. This burrito was brought to me with love, know?
Yes.
And I ate the burrito and you know what? It felt good in my heart.
As you should.
Yeah.
As you should. Entirely. I hope that we have, because I know that both of us have put forth effort to come across as like, look, it's not a righteous movement. It's for your own health. And if you slip or have an opportunity, because that's what it is, an opportunity to have some delicious food, but knowing that your health is at stake and it's an accumulatory effect, If you keep on making bad decisions over time, the bad results are going to happen. And just make better decisions as often as possible, and have freedom. That's why the forgiveness thing really hooked me in the heart, because forgiveness is a terrible trap. It's an imprisonment that, believe me,
Wait,
I've battled with.
wait, did you say forgiveness is a trap?
Forgiveness,
Okay,
yes.
explain.
And when you are refusing to forgive, there's a restriction about how you can behave about whatever it is that you are not forgiving, whether it's a person or yourself, or sometimes circumstantial things need to be forgiven too. There doesn't have to be a source at fault. Because look, every day when I'm getting dressed, man, is the worst. Because that's something that we all want to do for ourselves. And that's something that every single time, every single day, I have to let somebody else dress me. And that's like, it forces me to lay there and think about this shit. And like, forgiving myself for what? For want my hat? No, for climbing on a roof. Well, shit, man.
You've probably climbed on roofs before and they didn't cave in.
D-Rex, you know what we used to do when I was like 7, 8, 9, 10 years old? We used to hop on roofs. We would get on one roof on 13th and Ash. And those houses back then were so small, and all their garages were right next to each other. You could jump from one roof to the next.
I used to just hang out on my roof outside my window. You would just hang out on roofs. So I was reading a little bit about this, where you said, you feel it. And, maybe I'm not sure if that falls into beating yourself up about it daily, because I've been reading a little bit about what it is to hold a grudge and what that does to your body. And the first interesting thing I found out is that holding a grudge is a bad idea, but also not going through that small period of really feeling that emotion first, that angry feeling or betrayal or whatever it was. That would be a mistake to skip that part too. But the trick is to really feel it. And then you have to ask yourself, okay, so this anger that I'm feeling, this frustration, is this constructive or destructive? And have a little conversation with yourself. Because can you think of a single time where making yourself angry at yourself or angry at somebody was actually constructive? I mean, maybe if somebody was truly toxic and you needed to remove them, but still, you don't have to like sit there and be angry about it. Being angry about it is not going to hurt that person in any way. It just like you're only hurting yourself.
It is. It's painful too. When I say it's like a trap, because it affects where you can go. It affects how you're feel. And I'm someone that, I mean, I'm so devoted to freedom. Like I've just always wanted to be able to come and go as I please, no matter what in life. And I've had this authority complex from day one, as far as I can remember. But freedom to me is super important. I want to be, I just want to be. Just want to be free. I won't bother nobody. Just don't bother me. And when there's been times when I've not historically been a grudge holder. But there's been times when I've sought forgiveness, and I try to as often as possible, and put myself in other people's shoes whenever I'm trying to reason with them or just getting along in life. I'm always considering other perspectives, and so in the one who is seeking forgiveness role, you must understand why they are refusing to forgive, right? And that's an even less fun game to play, because when you're trying to reason with yourself about to learn how to forgive, and then you've convinced yourself that it's the right thing to do and you should always pursue it. And then you're trying to look down that barrel and try to see somebody else who's refusing to do it. It's kind of like a swing in the other direction as far as how it's an emotional tear down. And so I think just preaching about never holding grudges, man.
Yeah, it's definitely not healthy. It's actually super unhealthy in proven physical ways. And I kind of like what Ray says here at the end. It says, you'll never be able to move forward if you dwell on the past. And I think that's an interesting point, because I've been listening to a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza, and you know who he is, but maybe other people don't. But Dr. Joe Dispenza is a doctor. I think he started as a chiropractor, but I'm not sure. And he had a spinal injury, and he learned a lot about how the mind works, and he was able to use his mind to help heal his body, and now he teaches other people how to do this. And I just find him really motivating, and I think you do too. We both find him very inspirational.
Absolutely.
And that's something that he talks about, is that you have to live in your future thoughts and not in your past thoughts, or not even in your present. You have to live in your future thoughts of how you want things to be for them to go there.
Absolutely. It's a really mind-blowing concept. I love his new book. I'm on my third time through it, and I just gifted it to Lyric a couple of days ago. Joe Dispenza's Becoming Supernatural. And that concept alone, I really think, is what makes the difference for me. You opened my mind up to this, back in May when we first caught back up, and it came around, and then Gary from Australia hit me up and told me about this book. And man, now I'm a huge sucker for it. And I love the idea of not. He says that we as creatures on Earth, survival is our primal. Instincts are designed to help us survive. So it's natural for us and reasonable that we typically are waking up every day and thinking about the experiences that we've had and try to learn from them so that we can avoid the risks of the bad experiences that we've had. Like, we're always like living in the past and worried about it's always risk avoidance. In order to be living on that risk avoidance edge, you always have to be thinking about what experiences you've had in similar circumstances and how to navigate them. Right. But rather than just thinking about how you want life to be, and just living in that imagination of how that's what, if I want this to be what my life is going to be, what steps what do I need to feel like today that's going to make that happen? Or what will I feel like when it happens, and just to live it today like it's going to happen. That has been such a game changer for me. I mean,
yeah, that's what Joe Dispenza says, where it's like you have to imagine it, and you have to feel it as if it's already happened in order for it to go in that direction. And I totally believe this. And I know that to anybody who might not have studied anything about this so far, it sounds like wishing. It's not the same thing. And if you are curious about it at all, there are so many YouTube videos that you could explore by looking up Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I'll put his name up there in case you don't know. But I always liked this quote that Kevin said. It says, it's like drinking poison, expecting it to kill someone else, holding a grudge.
Oh, hell yeah. That's strong. That's strong. So for those of you that don't know, Mr. KCP, Kevin Christopher Price, is one of the architects, along with Bleak the Architect, for I Worked for This. That's a song by Strange Tang that we play all the time. So welcome to the show, KCP.
All right. Thanks for being here, Kevin.
Those are wise words. And I like what Lori's saying here. This is strong too. It doesn't.
Yeah. And that's actually part of what I was reading about holding grudges, is that you need to feel the emotion and acknowledge that it's there, but then you do have to release it, because it's only going to hurt you, and it does hurt you physically. You know what? I pulled up this really interesting research finding that I just came across, and I'm just going to outright read it. And it was a study done by University of Washington Medicine, and it's on their website. And it says, in one study, adults who held on to anger and hostility over the course of a decade experienced greater cognitive decline than those who were more apt to forgive. And though they don't go into details right there about what would cause that cognitive decline, is that something any of us want?
Right, exactly. Right. That's the thing. Few of us are strategically planning our future, and so tune in, get busy living, start being purposeful and deliberate about what you want to happen. The more you think about what your life will be instead of worrying about what your life has been, the more likely you are going to influence it in a positive way. And the technique that Joe Dispenza talks about imagining your ideal life and just living in that like it's going to happen has been such a game changer for me. I mean, because like I said, I've struggled with forgiveness. And a lot of
Yeah.
times when I close my eyes, I see myself not going on that roof,
Mm.
and imagining what my life would be like right now. I'd probably still be in Bali 5 years later. That's how much I loved it, So,
Is that
yeah,
how, did I spell that
yep,
right?
I believe
Okay.
so. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Okay. So anybody who's interested in what we're talking about, definitely check out some of his talks on YouTube.
Man, the book he has out now, Becoming Supernatural. Like I said,
Oh,
I'm
amazing.
already 2+ times through it. Oh, what you got here?
What?
Look at this sneaky little sneaker machine.
Amazing what a good woman can do.
Holy, oh, what is that? I can't hear her.
Did
What
she
is
say
it?
yam?
She said yum.
Oh, I thought she said yam, like Y-A. I was like, ooh, that's an interesting one. You really are doing this vegan thing.
Ooh, man, that is super good.
So Kelly says The Happiness Advantage by Sean Akor is a great book I just got done reading. I do not know about this book. But
Kel, raise your hand and we'll shoot you a link and you can come on screen and tell us about it. For those of
yeah.
you that don't remember, Kelly was the saving grace, rescued me from the nursing facility a couple of years ago. If it wasn't for her, I might still be living there. And she's also since helped me learn a lot about veganism. She's got some amazing recipes on her Instagram, which is from roots
We might still have
roots
it in
and
here.
fruits from cowboy boots.
We don't have it here. She said that she can't come on camera right now.
I know she's probably watching the podcast in the shower. I know probably that's when they prefer to watch.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Tasha said, "What are we going to get you for your birthday? What are we going to? What are we going to talk about on your birthday, D-Rex?"
Oh my gosh. Okay, so my birthday's coming up, and so is this ski trip. And I mean, basically, just hanging out with a lot of fun people and being able to go skiing for the first time with you since we were teenagers.
Oh my God.
Is that not a birthday present enough? It is,
Funny you mentioned that. So we're going to go skiing next month, guys. Anybody that wants to show up in Flagstaff and be part of the Git Bizzy Living Project 55, month number 6 is in Flagstaff. We're all going to go up there. There's a dinner on Wednesday night, and then there's skiing. My trial run is on Thursday. The actual race is on Friday. And if I win that race, I get a ticket to the World Championships on this Tetra ski in Salt Lake on my birthday next month.
Oh, you gotta get it. Gotta get it.
Exactly. So can I get a win for your birthday, D-Rex? Can you give me a win for your birthday?
Absolutely. I'll be meditating on that. Speaking of meditating, I like what Lori said here. Journaling, meditating, looking in the mirror and owning your shit and forgiving yourself or someone else to be at peace. Absolutely. Journaling and meditating are underrated activities. And as human beings, they're very fulfilling. But like we were saying earlier, we're in this machine that would never encourage us to do these things, So that's something that you have to take your exit ramp and go do. Like, it's not going to happen to you. The journal's not going to fall in your lap and the pencil in your hand. It takes a little bit of action there.
Oh man, I wish Magic Mello was in this. So Magic Mello is my coach, and you guys that really need somebody that is a self-made millionaire, and maybe I shouldn't use the term millionaire so loosely. I don't know her personal finance business. I know that she's made millions. She's got hardware to prove it. But she is such a great person to help you keep your look. I've got a lot of irons in the fire. I'm trying to get a bachelor's degree. I'm trying to found this nonprofit. I'm trying to learn how to be a podcaster, and I'm trying to learn how to walk again after suffering this paralysis thing. It's safe to say I got a lot on my plate here, and this girl has helped me to. She can teach you how to use this Freedom Mastery Planner that is for me. I mean, like I was having such anxiety at the beginning of this month, but now I'm back in school and I'm back to being productive. I'm actually. I got productive. I got a little bit ahead, and just in time for this weekend. But point is that if it wasn't for this Freedom Mastery Planner, if it wasn't for helps from the mentorship of Melanie, I would not be able to juggle all this stuff. And so, if anybody's interested in having that kind of thing, I highly recommend Mel. You can just go to melanielevitz.com, MELANIELEVITZ.com. And get on her schedule, man. She can help you. You just let her know what your goals are, what type of business you're in. She has her own business opportunities. If you're looking to get into business, she can help you get started with that type of thing. Great resource. But she was just, helping me get all my stuff down. We hope that we can show you that I am, with the help of you, getting busy living, and then trying to help you also get busy living, you as in the audience. So in this podcast, we hope you'll come kick it with us once a week. We'll keep you up to date on what we're trying to do for our own personal health and mental well-being. And then we're trying to raise money so that we can help others the way that I've been helped. And the viewership by you tuning in helps us with that. And overall, the big picture, once we get this thing going, we're going to celebrate the end with the Project 55 culmination, where we'll be able to throw you a huge, huge party. So, please do come back each week, get some tips from us on what we feel like are the necessary things for your mindset so that you can, be living a purposeful, deliberate, intentional life where you're getting busy living.
Can you tell us where we are in Project 55? Oh my gosh, don't make that noise ever again.
That was so good. I know. Does that sound familiar, D-Rex? Maybe you want to make it again now.
It just sounded bad. All right. Where are we?
So we're going into month 6. Going into month 6.
Oh
and leading up to this, I've been saying that my birthday is month 7 and lucky number 7. And maybe I'll just let you guys surprise me. But if I win and I'm in Salt Lake for month 7, that will be, what, I might go up there just even if I don't win.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's a really good destination.
So I got friends in Salt Lake that are some of my favorite all-time friends. So although I have not done any promoting in Salt Lake about this, well, Darren lives up there. He's been on the podcast, but I haven't done very much promoting up there with letting people know that this podcast exists. So maybe that's going to have to change now. Matter of fact, not maybe. That goes back to what I mentioned a little bit ago. Is that I am looking to find some people that know how to make nice websites and that are skilled at social media marketing. I find that as much as I feel capable of doing these things, I just don't have the time. And my health and my education right now are just taking precedent over me being able to carve that time out. So I know that it's worthy. I know that we will have more success if we have teammates that are doing those things. So
well, let me ask you this. Are we still intent on staying within Squarespace? Because if anybody is a Squarespace expert, we could really use that.
Especially.
Okay.
When you brought up the category or the concept of talking about forgiveness, there's so much there, and when trying to encourage people to get busy living the way that I've tried to do myself, I'm really trying to lead by example, and I've come from a pretty dark place, and the forgiveness has been a big obstacle.
Have you been able to forgive yourself?
I think I would answer that question differently on some days, so that must mean overall no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm telling myself that I need to earn that forgiveness.
I don't think you do. I don't think you do. I think it's a choice. You can choose to cut it free and not dwell on it. I feel like regret is definitely a form of holding a grudge. And after we read all those, we didn't actually read all of those health effects of holding a grudge, which is actually quite amazing, and how cortisol affects your body and inflammation and everything. Maybe that alone would be enough for you to start forgiving yourself, is knowing that you're actually hurting yourself by not forgiving yourself.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am not a dweller, but
No.
like I said, each day when I lay there, helplessly allowing somebody else to do something I used to do for myself every day, it's a moment that I have not been able to learn how to avoid, like telling myself, "Damn it," without. I've not made it through one single time where I haven't been like for chasing that damn monkey. So don't chase the monkey t-shirts coming right up.
Yeah, absolutely. Need those.
No,
yeah, that's a big thing. That's a big thing to forgive yourself. But if you use the logic that we were talking about earlier, is there any benefits to beating yourself up over it? But
no, I don't think it's a choice, though. That's the issue.
I know.
I'm not doing it because I think it will. It's me right now admitting that it happens. It's not me choosing to do it in the moment. So in that case, for when I look at the big picture, I don't feel like this haunting, like I haven't forgiven myself, so I'm like not haunting myself. That's why I say on different days I would answer it differently, because I'm not haunting myself. I do recognize that there's no. I do know that my thoughts control my emotions. You know what I mean? That's how people are. Emotions, energy into motion. So your thoughts control those. So I know that sometimes when you're not conscious about your thoughts, that your mind can stray and you have these emotions, which happens to us all the time. But I try to consciously not allow myself to feel that that lack of forgiveness and that regret and that remorse and that grudge towards myself. And I, for the most part, I do pretty well. But I have to admit that if I didn't have the support of the Help Swede Walk Again family, I don't know that it would be the same. I've said many times that, I really do believe that the energy that I have to put forth into this fight to try to get back on my feet, it comes from the energy that all of you guys are pouring into me, and knowing that, that you guys are there, So, I mean, there's no way for me to thank you, as far as I'm concerned, better than to keep you informed as to what I'm doing with my life via this podcast, and try to help you guys in, the way that you've helped me.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's probably going to be a constant work in progress, forgiving yourself for that. But as you make progress, it's going to be easier and easier to forgive yourself, And
it is. I have made progress. I'm continuing to make progress. I'm
Wait,
looking.
Do you want to maybe talk about Swede's next step? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, thank you for setting me up. Okay.
All right.
that's that love, and I'll try to hit it out the park. So no, really the the biggest issue at this point, as far as what's holding me back from making progress, um, is I've got this hip situation that even if my spinal cord were to miraculously heal, I would be in crippling pain. What's going on with my hips? So it's somewhat. Of course, the hips are only there because of the paralysis. So don't get me wrong, but I'm somewhat thankful that I don't feel that pain. And so I thought I had an orthopedic surgeon lined up back in October that was willing to help me with it. And when I did not get a call back after an extended period of time, and I reached back out, turns out that he completely turned around and did the exact opposite of what he said he was going to do.
Oh.
And when I was in the room with him, he came in the room expecting to tell me, sorry, can't help you. And then I opened up a can of passion on his ass and told him that I wasn't taking no for an answer. If he told me no, I was going to find somebody else that was willing, and they say the average doctor visits 7 minutes. And believe me, I've seen a lot of that shorter than that. He was in the room with me for a half an hour, and when I was leaving his office, he shook my hand hard with both hands, looked me straight in the eye, and was like, we're going to do this, man. He's like, because he told me, that the reason that he didn't want to do it before he met me was that most people don't have the care in place at home to be able to give me the proper therapy I would need. And that's why I failed already many times. Excuse me, because I always went back to the facility after I had the surgery. And so once I told him that if that's what's causing me to continue to have these relapses and have this condition keep coming back, that I will fix that. Whatever I have to fix, I will fix. I'm like, I had to impress upon him that, look, bro, I'm not just a result of a bad accident. Like, I'm trying to get out of that. I'm not just accepting that as my fate. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he told me that we were going to do it. And after I didn't hear back from him, I called his office, and the nurse was like, no, his notes say here that it was that he couldn't justify all of the risk. And I was like, no, I think probably he didn't update his notes then, but he told me to get back to you. It was going to take him about a week to put together a plan for me, and we were going to do this together. And she's like, okay, well, let me go talk to him. Maybe he didn't update his notes. That's extremely rare. So then she comes back after a 15-minute hold. And I got the impression by the way that she brought it up to me that she had been in somewhat of a debate with him about the circumstances, because she came back to me and she's like, well, I just talked to him, and he said that, that he really doesn't feel that it's worthwhile, and that he told you that when you were here. And I was like, okay, well, if that's what he's saying, then obviously that's what he's saying. But I'm here to tell you, just for your information, because you work for him, that that's not what he told me the last time we talked. And that I've spent the past, month of my life thinking that I had this, this hero on my team. And now you're telling me that I don't. Well, you know what? That's fine. I'll go find somebody else. But for your information, that's not what he told me last time I talked to him. So the last time I talked with my primary care physician a few days ago, still trying to find somebody that's willing to work with me. I've been told that by just about everybody that's ever seen the x-rays of my hips that they're the worst they've ever seen.
And what is so bad about your hips?
Where normal people have a hollow socket in their pelvis that the top of their femur has a ball shape that fits in there, and it just rotates like a socket. Mine's in there, and it's all bone. It's like it's not the bone is, it's all frozen.
So would you need an actual hip replacement?
Well, when they did it in the past, they just went in and cut the bone out and took the bone out. And they the first time they did it, they zapped me with some radiation. They theorized that there's this radiation treatment that causes it to not come back, but it did come back. So, and they don't recommend doing the radiation twice, but they did go in and try to get it out again. And the second time it came back again. And so the last time I talked to that surgeon before I found out enough information to make me not want to work with him again, he was like, look, let's get this other issues that we feel like could be causing it handled first, and then we'll go back and handle it. So then the fight for me to get this power wheelchair began years ago. So I finally got this power wheelchair, and when it's time for me, now that I've gotten to a point now where I am healthy enough in this chair and I can stand up for extended periods of time, which is a necessary ingredient to the rehab. I'm ready for the surgery. I can't find anybody to do it. And so look, it's another example. If I didn't have so many other obligations and I had laser focus on just this situation, I would call every doctor in America. But D-Rex, you know me as well as anybody these days, and I just don't have laser focus on any one thing like that. I've got a little bit of focus on a lot of things. So that's why I'm trying to delegate.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, even within this this podcast and the Help Swede Walk Again organization alone, those are almost like 2 full-time jobs themselves. And then, when you have school on top of that and managing your health, I mean, you're working 4 jobs.
They are all absolutely. They all would improve immediately if I was able to work full-time on any one of them.
Yes.
So thank you for your patience as we grow this. Because I meet with Rod on Tuesday, and I've got some good questions for him. It's time. It's the
let's
networking.
just tell people who Rod is. Rod is the person, your mentor for the Help Swede Walk Again organization. Yeah,
he is a nonprofit guru. So without giving away too much of his identity, I don't know how big of a deal that kind of stuff is, but he has been the director of business relations for a major corporation, a corporation that at one time was one of the wealthiest on earth. And so he comes with a great deal of experience. And
we're going to listen to what he says. We're going to listen and implement.
Yes. And what the message he's been hammering home with me is one step at a time. So you don't get ahead of yourself, one step at a time. So he's been giving me small tasks all along the way to accomplish between, each time we meet. So there's stuff in the background that's happening, so it's just like everything else, I'm just trying to get busy living, but I'm trying to steer a bunch of ducks through the pond here.
Yeah. And sometimes it's like herding cats, but but something's getting done. Some cat is getting herded, and at any point in time.
Did you hear she called you Tasha?
Hey, no, I didn't.
All right. Well, D-Rex, I can't say thank you enough. I really cannot thank you for your patience. Your support in this journey is immeasurable.
I'm all in all the time.
I can tell. So, you guys come back next week and make a special note that in 2 weeks we got D-Rex's birthday. So make sure you're here in 2 weeks to wish her happy birthday. We're gonna sing.
Oh yay.
Oh yeah. All right. Until then, always remember, no matter the weather, always remember. I butcher it every week, but it's all the same, right?
It means the same.
Whether sunshine or rain, there's no joy without pain. Always remember, we're all in this together. Come back next week. Love y'all.
Thank you for being here, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
When you see me, but you gotta believe me. Ain't nothing coming easy my way. No, I fucking work, but I fucking work. I fucking work. You can see it when you see me, but you gotta believe me. Ain't nothing coming easy my way. No, you can see it when you see me, but you gotta